Hey folks, Alex here, 95 to Freedom. Today's video, we're going to talk about what's going on in the market, the big pullback. How's our goose doing today after this bloody day that we had today? Talk about the dividends we received for week 30 and just overall next steps that we're going to do with my portfolio and what I've been thinking about. So let's hop into it. I'm going to make this brief. It's been a little bit of a chaotic day, and we'll start out with the news. Okay, market will close in 12 minutes. S&P 500 down 1.5%. Nasdaq down over 2%. Russell 2% down, and the Dow Jones is 1.1% down. So the deadline today, August 1st, for any negotiations on the tariffs. And there's been a large tariff imposed on Canada. Apparently, there's some news that there's still going to be some room for negotiation until August 7th. Now, it sounds like China is excluded from today's deadline, so we'll see about that. There's some not very good news about the job market that came out this week. And overall, yeah, it's just been a little bit of a choppy day. Now, what's going to happen next week? I don't know. If you know, please leave a comment below. But is this going to be as bad as we had it in April? Is this going to be a huge pullback? Now, if you guys been around since April, really, I just waited it out at that point, and things leveled off. Things came back. It was just a matter of patience. It's really hard to time this. When this happened early July, when we were supposed to have the tariff deadline, which was pushed out later, it was kind of blown over. So this was really just lack of preparation, I think, on my end, because I didn't think much would happen from today's deadline. Now I think it's just accumulation of the Fed not lowering the rates, the job reports, and these tariffs all together, I think, is scaring folks, and they're panicking. So let's take a look at SPY. Today, again, SPY is down 1.6%. Let's refresh this, and okay, it's creeping back up just slightly here. All right, so let's see what happened here. Okay, so in the past month, SPY, S&P 500, we were up 637. Okay, we're now back to 623. Now, 623, if we look on a 6 month chart, that's going to bring us back to the beginning of July. So really, we just erased 1 month of gains is really what happened. So we lost all those gains. We're back to July 2nd. So, this is not a market crash. I think it's a reaction. It's a correction. So I'm not panicking. Obviously, it's much nicer to see your portfolio being green on a daily basis than seeing it red. So there's obviously some emotional component to that, but emotions can get in the way, and we can make really bad decisions. And again, QQQ and NASDAQ, very similar story here. We're down 1.79%. Now, talking about my portfolio, folks, it is absolutely red. You can make fun of it, do whatever you want. That's fine, but it is what it is. I did not sell my ULTY position. As you know, I bought in most of my position at a price of around 632, and then I got in around 618, 620. So my cost base is around 629, which is pretty high with the current price of 601 is where we're sitting at today. So we had, we dropped down to 50. I don't know why I'm typing that. I should type ULTY. We were down to like 656 today, and I'm sorry, 696, and then it slowly creeped up. We were up to 609, which kind of looked promising, but then we went back down. So now it's been floating around this 602, 601 price point. So closing the day here in 8 minutes, most likely somewhere around 2% down for the day. If we look at the 5-day chart, as you can see, it's been falling down. Now we did have our dividend, which was paid out today. Ex-dividend was on Thursday. we haven't seen obviously that recovery. It's been dropping. Now I had a video which was a little bit controversial on our golden goose, because yesterday I was thinking about it. Okay, what do we do? And I think people misunderstood me when I was considering at some point selling. My biggest concern, folks, is if I don't see recovery of the dividend for a few dividends, that I lose hope in that fund. And if you got into this ULTY thing in the beginning, that's kind of what you were experiencing. Every time you got a dividend, your value of your shares would drop down and they would never recover. And really at that point, you're getting your own money back and you're being taxed on it. So yes, there's folks who say, well, if you would have bought even at the high and received the dividends, you'd still make about 14%. That's all and great, but that's not what we're looking for. If YieldMax is promising us 86%, and obviously, it's not realistic, but even if we get 40%, 30%, whatever it is, we want to see some stable NAV, and that's what I'm looking for. So when I was looking at the chart on the 1 month chart, I got into it around here, the second week of July, around 632 was my price point. Now that first week was amazing because it ran up. We got our dividend. We're up to 641. Everybody was sitting pretty, and then ever since that 641 price, it hasn't been really recovering. It's been on a downtrend. So that was my concern, and that's what really made me think about the future of this fund. Now, can it come back to the 630 point? Possibly. I'm not excluding that, but what I'm getting at is, I want to look at something that's going to be stable, that will pay me a dividend, and if I can get 86%, I'm fine with that. I will go over to Roundhill and I'll buy more XDT, more QDT. I'll load up on more on BTCI and have a Bitcoin position. That's fine. Those pay between 28 and 35%. They maintain their NAV. They're not promising the moon. I thought this was an interesting play. I went for 40,000 shares into it. Some people think I'm crazy. Maybe I am a little bit crazy. But listen, folks, none of this is financial advice. Don't copy what I'm doing. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. This is for my own tracking purposes. And this represents just a small portion of my investments into. I have invested in real estate. I have long-term investments into safe, like S&P 500 type of fund. So really, this is my experiment that I'm doing. So I just want to make that clear. Now, obviously, it's still a lot of money, and I'm not trying to be reckless with it. I want to maintain my account. So did I go overboard a little bit with 40,000 shares? Maybe, but again, who knows? If this would have went up to 650 a share, I would have looked like a genius, and then we would have a different discussion. But as always, it's tough to time the market. It's tough to know what's going down. Again, hindsight, yes, these tariffs were kind of looming, but this whole year has been very, very choppy, folks. So anyways, I'm not trying to excuse my mistakes on what I've been doing, but I just wanted to comment on that. Now, if we look at year-to-date chart, really, we're down to 601. So 601 brings us back to beginning of May. That's when we were floating around $6 on this ULTY share. So let's take a look at the portfolio, right? So ULTY, I'm down $5,000 as of right now for today. 4,800. Okay, bounce back a little bit. On my total position, I'm down almost 11,000, so $10,829. Okay, so quite a bit of money. All right, QDT, this one I'm only down 493 total because I think I've made some money on some shares. Today I'm down 659. XDT down total 1,800, down 7%. I've held this position since like the previous tariff, so I was floating around -5 for a while. SMCY had a huge pullback today, 3.3%. I'm down 15%. The other ones are some call options. They're in the red right now. We'll see if they'll bounce back. I'm just experiencing some stuff. So I'm really down to 4 funds. What are my thought process? Well, I'm going to see what next week's going to do. Okay, we will play it by ear. I hope there's going to be a slight recovery, at least going flat. I don't want to see any more bleeding, but if we have to, that's fine. We're only down 4.5% on this whole portfolio. So, I'm not panicking. We're not down 20% or anything like that. So obviously nobody likes to see red in your account, but it is what it is. So, okay, so what's ULTY doing now? Let's just refresh this page. Okay, we're still at 602. Okay, so let's talk about the dividends, right? So we'll go to our dividend tracker. We got 4 payments this week. XTT, we got $136. QDT, $237. ULTY, $4,032. And SMCY, $407. So total for the week, we got $4,813, okay? Obviously, with everything being down, do we really get anything? Well, and I guess it depends how you look at it. So overall on ULTY, so far year to date, I made $9,868. So if you count that into what I'm down on, really I'm down about $1,200 as of right now on my ULTY position. So not too bad. I've lost more money in other stuff. So that's what we got going on, folks. It's not pretty, but I'm sure a lot of folks are hurting today. I think just playing it safe and not getting emotions in the way in order to not take any losses that are not necessary. One thing I would say is if we compare ULTY really to QQQ, and that's probably the closest fun I could think of comparing it to. I mean, we've had this decline here on QQQ as well. I mean, since yesterday, and yeah, really, it's the chart's like a 1 month chart. You see this low, you see the high, you see the down, and I think ULTY has a very, very similar pattern because it's holding a lot of the stuff that that QQQ is. So again, that the movement 2% down for the day is not horrible. If I looked at Misty today, and Misty's down 8.5%, folks. So this one, whoever's holding Misty, I'm sorry, guys. I mean, it's really hurting for you. I got out of Misty. I think that was last week. I didn't like the trend of it. I didn't like the risk all in one fund. So I got out of it. I'm not trying to say I'm a genius or anything. It was just a lucky guess on that. I should have probably got out of ULTY at 622 a couple of days ago. Then I would have been a genius and bought everything back at $6 today. But I don't have that information, so it is what it is. And yeah, so that's really what I wanted to talk about today. Next plans, we'll see. We'll see how things are going to shake out. Right now, I'm not too worried about. I am holding 112,000 on margin right now. That margin got paid off by the dividend. I was up at somewhere around 116 or 117 the other day. So my core position, my own money, 190,000, 112 on margin. So I still have a buffer. If we go to the balances, let's see here. I still have net surplus of $26,500. And I have some thoughts around that. Obviously, ULTY is taking 50% maintenance because I'm highly into ULTY. Somebody left a comment saying that if you have a large position at ULTY, they raise it up to 50. If it was more balanced, it would be down to 30. So I found that to be interesting. We're gonna see how ULTY plays out. I think ultimately what I want to do is I want to balance this out. Once we see hopefully a recovery of some sort, I want to balance this out, and I want to increase my QDT position. I've really been happy with its performance. It's been very solid. Also weekly payer. It's a little bit more diversified, and it just tracks the index a little bit better. It doesn't overpay, and overall, I think long term, we'll see less NAV erosion on something like QDT than ULTY. We'll see how ULTY holds up, folks. I'm not giving up on the golden goose. I don't want anybody to think that way. I feel like a lot of folks in the comments thought that I'm giving up on it, that I have weak hands, all that kind of stuff. But I just like talking about it. I like thinking about different options, different strategies. And that's really what's been on my mind today. And I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see what next week brings us. I hope there's some good news, and we don't want to be stuck in this downwards pattern, obviously, like we were back in April. We want to see some slight recovery, some optimism. So let's hope for that. And that's all I got for today, folks. So thanks for watching. Take care.